Well, very, very long time ago for me, before the girls were born, um, up in Sacramento, they had a parade. And maybe, I think it wasn't just a parade, because there were parades at different times. But I believe up in Sacramento, which is our state capital, I'm pretty sure, um, they had a park where they were doing a whole monument in honor of the men and women of Vietnam. And I think it was the very first time Jim ever walked in a parade, a thank you parade. And because he has the stories like thousands of them do, that, you know, when he got home he was yelled horrible things and spit on and all that kind of stuff. And so this was now, I should have got my date straight in my head before I started chatting with you, but this was now probably 20 years down the road. And we went to Sacramento. It was a big deal. I had to take a day off work, and I'm not a girl to miss work. But I took a day off of work, and so we could go up there. And the event was about being in a parade and about the opening of the statue and a mini wall, and it was a big deal. It was a big, big deal. I don't know if I would say to you it was, I couldn't rank them, but it was one of those days that goes along with getting married and having children, and going to the celebration was really big. And he put on his clothes, he had on his jacket, and of course it didn't really quite fit. But he wore it, and he walked in that parade like he had just come home, and it made a big difference. Those things make a big difference in these guys' lives, and they need to have them. They're important. You don't come home just once just because your feet hit the American soil. You have to come home a couple times to really believe you're home. So that was a big day. That was a very big day. I knew I was in for something that I wasn't expecting when I married this man, because one day we were newly married, and I made this really beautiful Sunday brunch, and he pulled the TV up to the dining room table where I'd made this lovely, romantic, newly married, brunch, and put on the Vietnam War movie, so while I'm like thinking, this is so romantic and sweet, we're like watching people get killed, and I can tell you I've seen every, so I was like, okay, I better really pay attention. This is like a way of life for me, and because that was his life. That's who he was. Enormously. And amongst the men of the different wars, they don't understand why it needs to be repeated over and over. Well, some of it does need to be repeated over and over, and it is, by movies and interviews and historical moments. All the wars get attention. The Vietnam War gets so much attention because they came home without the idea of being successful. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to overcome anything that you did your very best at, and then people say, just think about something really simple in your life, and you get told, oh, that wasn't good enough. You're like, oh my God, I did it, I'm alive, and we did good, and so it's hugely important, absolutely. And they should be honored. They should be honored. They are heroes. They are all heroes. They are definitely, every day, if you know somebody who's been to war and come home, you have met a hero. Absolutely. It's grueling. I certainly would not have survived. It is grueling. So I hope they have a lot of them. And they do. They come together today to still walk in the parades. And they bring one more buddy along, and they're all buddies. So